All right, we are live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rabbit Hole Podcast, where we do mediocre research and give our unwanted opinion about a topic that you probably don't care about. My name's Tristan. I'm joined again by my lovely host, Christian and CJ. This week, after a little bit of a hiatus because of real life stuff,
Real
um,
world.
we are going to
Sell our
touch on.
souls to the devil.
We're going to talk about some demons.
Mm-hmm.
Monsters and stuff like that. Kind of subject that we've kind of sprinkled in a little bit, but this is going to be kind of more focused and spotlighty, I guess,
Yeah.
on demons in different cultures and religions, where the, I guess, the origin of demons, kind of.
Right. So, when we start this, do you want me to start here with the first recorded mentioning?
Yeah, you're the
And then-
theology guy. I'll let you.
Then we can
start
go
off this
from
one.
there. Okay. So, we've talked a little bit in past religion-based episodes about animism and like ancestor worship and things like that. And I think I've pretty well covered those topics. I think really where you start seeing a lot of your demonic entities is the ancient Mesopotamians, particularly in the Sumerian civilization, the Abrahamic early phase, and then your Zoroastrianism. That's where you get your three big bursts of demons, especially with the ancient Mesopotamians, who that house of demonology is commonly referred to in modern day movies and things like that. Usually, you get a lot of it from Mesopotamia. Now, the Zoroastrian faith was the first one to really write down their demons, and they had 3,333 demons, and each of these demons represented some calamity. One would represent war, one starvation, one sickness, one pestilence, so on and so forth, until they had 3,333 things that they could be representative of. Now, another one. Now, when we start talking about Zoroastrianism, Mesopotamia, ancient Sumer, and Abrahamic religions, you have to think that these are all a very interconnected people that have developed amongst each other from, pre-Göbekli Tepe, so pre-10,000 BC. So all of their thought processes and their things are just kind of different versions of the same thing, and you'll see that a lot with a lot of these. But a couple of the big notable ancient Mesopotamian things that you'll see is going into more a hierarchy of demonology, especially in Sumerian times. So I'll let one of these guys take the wheel for a second, but that's just kind of where everything started. It really started off in animism and ancestor worship, them thinking that there was where their ancestors were this good, there was also had to be this evil involved. There's always good and there's an evil, and then that kind of rolled into Zoroastrianism and I'm going to butcher his name, but Mazda Ara and your Sumerians, and then that in turn, what's the correct word here? Inspiring maybe, or rubbing off on your foundational Abrahamic religions. So that's kind of where everything starts. I'll let one of you guys take the wheel for a second.
So I guess usually typically when people think of demons, it's usually like the Judo-Christian
Yes.
religion, right? I mean, they stem from, and depending on like what source you use, I think, or the stories or so on, it'll depend on like what a demon is.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's demons are they're just literally evil beings created by Satan himself.
Right.
And then there's stories and depictions where they're human beings, souls that have been damned to hell, and
Right.
they've been there for so long that eventually that there's nothing human remotely about them.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Like I said, like a lot of like pop culture and stuff like that, with like Annabelle and the Nun, which a lot of those movies, I think there's like 7 of those movies that technically are literally all about the same exact demon.
Yeah, they are.
But they all stem from Judeo-Christian
Yep.
and such.
Which in turn stems from Zoroastrianism and Sumerian demons.
Which if someone randomly come up to up on the streets and were to ask me like, hey, when you think of demons, like what do you think of? It would go straight to the like Christian demons and of the such.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's of course where your head's going to go in a Western society. You're going to go straight to Christian demons, who I think a lot of times get painted as you mentioned that they could be humans that have deteriorated past the point of any kind of redemption. I think a lot of times you get that demons are also kind of Lucifer's right-hand man or right-hand helpers.
They're to him what angels are to God, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's a lot of what I thought about something about Lucifer that I was reading about this morning, actually.
I want to be controversial because this is my favorite.
Yeah,
when it comes to regards to Lucifer and Satan and all that, everyone sees him as being.
I know exactly where you're going with this.
Yeah. So, and I'm trying to word this without people doing like.
No, I mean, I think everybody knows that we're just tossing out ideas here.
Yeah. So like, a lot of people blame the devil for everything. The devil is the embodiment of evil, and everything in the world that is happening that's bad is the devil's fault, right?
Definitely, yeah.
And I'm, as I said, I do not know a lot about the like Christian faith, like down to a T about it all. But from my gathering and from what I think I know, is that he was cast out essentially because he was jealous of human beings.
Yeah.
His father had made this thing that was perfect, right? Angels. And then he made some lesser beings, and he cared so much more about that and did not care about the angels no more.
Yeah.
So then to prove to God and so on and so forth how imperfect these human beings are and stuff like that, all this stuff happened, and then that's where essentially the snake in the Garden of Eden and so on and so forth, he was cast down from heaven into hell, and hell was where he would reside, and then he essentially became responsible for all the damned souls, so on and so forth.
Souls, just like Hades.
But if you want to get technical, he doesn't ever. It's not necessarily his fault that the souls end up there, right? It's
no.
But and people like to use it, I guess, as like it's the devil's temptation, but it's like
it's not. Yeah, I know where you're going.
I guess I could see it as that though. Now that I'm thinking, I could understand that logic being that the devil hates human beings so much that he's whispering in their ear to spite God and so on and so forth.
Right.
But so I think he's just I think there's part of it is like maybe he's just responsible for the things, like he's in control of the souls once they're there, but he might not necessarily be the one causing problems up here.
Yeah, I don't think necessarily. Which I mean, not that I. Okay, so devil's advocate. I'm a devout Christian, and this is what I believe. Okay, devil's advocate. So I don't think that even in the most truest form of Christianity, that you could actually believe that the devil is responsible for your daily misfortune.
But that is, I mean, if you get to a very specific point, there's people that are,
oh, there's people that believe that, but they're wrong.
yeah. I mean, their interpretation of this set of events in the Bible and so on and so
Yeah.
forth is that literally all evil that ever comes about is Satan's fault. I mean, there's no ifs, ands,
It's
or buts
man's
about
fault.
it. And they fail to believe, understand that like that us as humans have been given that free will,
Yeah,
and
they're not reading the story.
and so
They're
on and so
looking for a
forth. But
scapegoat.
and all sin is the devil's work, and so on and so
Yeah.
forth, and he is to be blamed, not human beings and their free will. And a lot of the depictions are of Satan being this half man, half goat, red, horrible
Yeah.
demon, monster, disfigured monster. When
Which they took from pagan ideology, actually.
yes,
Catholic Church
but
did.
a lot of Judeo-Christian holidays.
So
comes
to,
from
to,
paganism.
to stumble upon that, the Tanakh,
Mhm.
which is like the religious book for, I believe, Babylonians.
Yeah.
Um. Anyways, refers to Seirim and Shidim as two classes of demons, and the Tanakh actually refers to demons having a goat appearance. So that's kind of where the
Yep.
the first description of a
Mhm.
demon comes from.
Yeah, which I think
Good crap. Good crap.
which can which plays into like with the paganism, because there's a lot
Mhm.
of nature involved, I guess would be
Yeah.
the word, right? So even in like Greek mythology and stuff, so on and so forth, like satyrs, centaurs, stuff like that, that
Mhm.
are
Half
they're
man,
half
half
man,
beast.
half something else, right?
Yeah.
Mermaids. We've got this fascination as a whole, as a community or a civilization, of something else springing off, like almost like evolution, I guess,
Right.
where we evolved a specific way, or these things happen, and then something else. We've seen something, I guess, and we've put that picture off there. Where I was going with the half man, half goat, red, that so on and so
Mhm.
forth. How he's been envisioned, basically. He's an archangel, archangel, right? Like
Is he acute, obtuse?
he's pretty cute. He laughed at my jokes.
Ha, ha, ha.
He's
No.
I mean, he's a higher angel, right? I mean, like Michael and
Yeah.
hmm,
That is the thought process.
I know
Gabriel,
I lost
Michael, Gabriel.
I lost them all, but
You're good. Those are the two important
that
ones.
I mean. So, and to go from this to that to something else real quick. Now I'm drawing parallels. In Greek mythology,
Yes.
where we go over to crap, I can't think of his name now.
Hades.
No, he gave humans fire because
Oh, had to ask. I know who you're talking about. Just keep going. I know who you're talking
yeah. So I mean, like when you he didn't have a soft spot for humans. He was mad that Zeus gave fire. He did give fire to in spite of Zeus.
about. Yeah.
Prometheus.
Prometheus, yeah.
Prometheus, yeah. that's it.
Which is he was a Titan actually, so he
Mhm.
technically would have been Zeus's uncle.
Yeah.
But I mean, just something like that, right? Like Lucifer done this for the humans,
Right.
and because I guess essentially, I mean, technically Lucifer gave humans this abundance of knowledge, right? That's the fruit of the forbidden fruit, right? Was
Yep.
filled with all of this knowledge, and by convincing Eve to
Mhm.
eat the fruit, they all this knowledge, right?
Right.
And so I guess that's a parallel I would vaguely see.
Which can I make a quick? I know I've talked a lot, but I want to make a quick parallel on your Eve if you have a 3 minute
Oh, go,
max.
Go.
Head off here. So I've been doing a lot of deep reading, maybe language deciphering about the Garden of Eden situation lately, because I came across a story that really interested me. And I have a theory, and this theory is that there was no apple. Okay. The term to eat of their fruit in ancient Aramaic biblical times pretty much means it's pretty much slang for getting it on. Okay. So it's kind of like they wouldn't have said and he asked her to copiate, he would have got it on, right? That's what eating the fruit was. So here's my thought process. That if that whole thing's true, that Eve makes baby with Lucifer. Okay? God get mad. Throw everybody out of place. Then Eve also make baby with Adam. Then, spinning it back around, she gives birth to 2 boys. You know what their names are?
Cain and Abel.
Okay, yep.
So
Hold on,
Ready.
hold on.
damn it. Okay.
Almost done. And that is why God had a disdain for Cain, but loved Abel.
So have you ever heard of a Nephilim?
Yes, I have.
I was just
So-
about to talk about that.
The second you brought that up, that was something that they are seen as abominations, right, in
Yes.
the eyes of the angels and God and so on and so forth.
Even though, so a Nephilim is an angel
And
and a human.
Yep.
hybrid.
It's-
So
I think
even though God loves the angels, God loves humans.
They're not supposed
The
to.
hybrid of the two was an abomination.
No,
But
I-
I think if you technically a Nephilim is a angel and a mortal being fornicating. Basically, it's a
Right.
demigod, right?
Yeah, demigod. Yeah. that's
I
what
mean,
it
because
is.
like
Demigod.
to circle back to Greek mythology, they Cyclopses are
Mhm.
technically children of Poseidon.
Yep.
Poseidon, yes. That's not right. That's right.
Yep. Poseidon.
Okay, so they're technically
You're right.
children of Poseidon. Technically, Cyclopses are demigods.
Yes. Correct.
Technically, they would be Nephilims.
Yes. Correct.
If you want to talk about like if you would consider angels gods, so on and so forth.
I'm sorry, just made some noise. No, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I think you're saying the right things.
Talk about a lot
Um,
of stuff, and it gets very confusing trying
Yeah.
trying to like keep everything separate and not weave in.
I feel like sometimes we try to force ourselves into connecting dots that just
Uh-huh.
aren't there.
Which I would like to actually kind of circle back to if I can find it. And I told you all about this. Like, we discussed this because we've discussed Norse mythology. We
Yes.
just in this we've talked about Norse, how technically the current depiction of Satan comes from paganism.
Yes. It's actually, I think that a lot of it comes from, whereas we mentioned earlier where your Babylonians first get it, and I think your modern depictions where they brought it back was from Cernunnos, who's a Celtic god.
Do you know what else? What other demon has come from Norse like paganism.
Well, the demon?
Are you like asking a rhetorical question
Yeah,
that you know the
just-
answer to?
I'm asking. Yeah, I mean, do you know? I know that. Yeah, I just if you happen to.
Okay, well, just tell me the answer because I don't know.
Okay, so
You're so smart.
Krampus.
Oh, yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Which would be.
Have you been looking at my notes?
No, this is my
You've
absolute.
stolen
that's what I
like
told you.
3 of
I
my
told-
topics today.
This is my absolute favorite demon. I really wanted to do back when.
My camera
Christmas
keeps
was-
pausing and being weird. I don't know if y'all are seeing that or not.
Yeah, you talk like a million miles an hour. It's like,
Okay.
Oh yeah, y'all just did
For
that
the
too.
audience,
But
my
back
camera is not behaving today.
back in Christmas,
Mhm.
I wanted to. I think it was like right around the end of Halloween, October, somewhere
Yeah.
around there. We wanted to do a Krampus thing for
We did talk
Christmas.
about it. We just got busy.
Yeah. So essentially, Krampus is, which it has nothing to do with Christmas whatsoever.
Nope.
Originally, like its roots don't.
Does now, though.
Yeah, they've which the Christian religion does not enjoy that. Essentially, Krampus is the son of Hel, which is the Norse god of the
Goddess.
underworld.
Goddess.
Goddess.
We talking to my girl like that.
I was going somewhere with this. So it kind of ties into like the good and evil, right? So God and the devil,
Mhm.
Santa, who some believe to be Odin, right?
Yes.
In that faith,
Yep. Woden. Yep.
its roots,
Yep.
and Krampus,
Mhm.
good, evil. Santa brings the gifts, and Krampus,
Krampus comes
takes
and
the
rapes you in your
children.
bed.
yeah. So,
That too.
you see the
Sorry.
similarities.
Yeah, similarities.
It seems like a lot of our holidays are derived from demons. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Baal or not.
Yes, sir.
All of our holidays. Just to get down to the nitty gritty,
Dirt band.
they all come
Fishing in the dark.
from paganism. They literally everything is derived from paganism. If you want to be, what on earth? I'm going to talk about the next holiday coming up, like the next big Christian holiday.
Easter.
Yeah. What? Come on. Like I said, I don't know anything about the Bible really necessarily. I know bits and pieces from when some
Mhm.
stuff happened. Why is there a big bunny? Why is he hiding eggs? Did Jesus come out that tomb? Like, and this big bunny is like, he's want my eggs. So I don't.
The egg thing is also pagan. It's a Gaelic pagan tradition.
But that's the thing. A lot of the traditions merged, right?
Yeah.
So gift giving, they want to. A lot of times they atone that to the 3 wise men who
Mhm.
brought gifts, or so on and so forth.
That predates Christianity.
The outfit that Santa wears is actually that was once Coca-Cola took over, I believe.
Yep.
They started using that as their
Yeah.
propaganda type of thing.
They made it
so
all
re-
red. Yeah.
His little hat with the little snowball, so on and so
Mhm.
forth. Originally, I believe it's a pagan clothing thing.
I think it's actually Sammy. I think
Just
that
to
it's
steer
got
this
Sammy.
a little bit differently, did you say that Coca-Cola runs Christmas and Santa Claus now?
Yes.
I'm confused
So,
by that.
Early in the
they do.
early 1900s, Coca-Cola took over broadcast product. Like they essentially they rebranded Santa Claus,
They
turned
hallmarked
him
it.
red, and made him like their poster child. Essentially,
Yeah.
that's
They
why you
did.
used to see
So
like. I don't know if you remember this or not. There used to be Coca-Cola commercials with the polar bears and Santa
Yep.
Claus.
Yeah.
So they
Okay.
trademarked Santa Claus essentially.
Gotcha. I didn't know that.
The same way,
Which-
like
New,
with
yeah.
Valentine's Day and Hallmark. Same situation.
Yeah, Valentine's Day, perfect pagan holiday. And I've seen actually this year I've seen a lot of people that have called it out. They're like, "Why are you shouldn't be celebrating this holiday like if you're a Christian because
Mhm.
it's not. It has nothing to do with our religion. It's a pagan tradition. You know, this is actually blasphemy and so on and so forth."
Yeah, and
But
then
did
people are
the
like,
same-
"Oh, what's the Valentine's Day massacre?" And it's like, yeah, not really.
But then so on, you know, we go towards Easter and uh the people I get, you know, if you're celebrating Jesus' rebirth, which is confusing to me because Easter lands on the third Sunday of every April,
Yeah,
right? Well, that date changes. So
Yeah.
why then does what you're telling me is Jesus was resurrected on a different date, right? So
Yeah.
it would essentially change every year. It would be the same date, but every year it should be a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
I think one thing that you have to think about whenever you start talking about like the rotating holidays of Christianity. The book of Mark, the first written book of the gospel, wasn't written until 40 years after Mark was dead. Most
So-
of the gospels were written 200 to 300 years after the actual the author was actually dead, and it was just oral stories at that point.
So are you guys aware that like the Amish don't believe that Jesus was born on like the 25th of
Yeah.
December? They believe he was actually born several weeks later.
Mhm.
So they essentially celebrate Christmas twice. That, you know, they celebrate it for the typical time or whatever, and then they have a time where they actually go through and they celebrate what they believe is the real birth of Christ.
Right.
And but then there's also been different theories based on some of the information in the Bible and like how his stuff would be timed and stuff like that. How he's actually probably born in June or July.
I think this
Well,
would
that's
be a
kind of
really
like,
good thing to hear
um,
about from Micah about.
When that's kind of so our time schedule basically
Mhm.
is based off of a lot of people think it's before Christ and AD stands for after death. AD stands for Anno Domini,
Mhm.
which is like in the age of the king or something like that in Latin. But so since we base our timetable off of the birth, life, and death of Christ, basically, if it actually meant after death, we would be missing about 30 years from our
Yeah.
just timetable.
Yeah.
So,
Um.
all those things get skewed. I mean, like that's
So-
that's something to tie it back into demons a little bit
Yeah,
here.
that's what I was going to say.
Hold on. To tie it back into demons a little bit here. So the New Testament, before it was translated into the King James Version, mentions demons, just the word demon,
Mhm.
63 different times. In the King James Version, it is translated into just devil. So
Lumped into one.
a lot of people don't really think about that, and that devil doesn't have to mean specifically Lucifer or Satan or whoever. It can be like kind of a broad spectrum of devils and demons, and they
Right.
don't think about the hierarchy of demonology, basically. So,
Right.
and there is a hierarchy to it. There's
Definitely.
Lucifer is obviously the the emperor of hell, the king. Then you have Beelzebub, who's the prince
Mhm.
of hell. Astaroth is the Grand Duke. And then you got 6 lower demons below that. You have Lucifuge Rofokal, who's like the prime minister of hell. He rules the government of hell.
Mhm.
Satanakia, so that's where the word Satan comes from, is the commander of chief and the great general of hell's armies. Agalia Rept is the commandant. Fluarity is a lieutenant general. Sargantanas is a like a brigadier major. Like that, there's levels to this.
Mhm.
It's and this is coming from the Grand Grimoire. For people who don't know what that is, it's a book written by Antonio Venetiana del Rabina, who supposedly gathered this kind of information from the original writings of King Solomon to put together like basically the Grand Grimoire is supposedly a book that you can use to summon Lucifer, and that's how people make deals with the devil and stuff like that. But
Aleister Crowley was really into the grimoire.
there's so many levels and there's so many different demons. Just to kind of run through and name a couple of the famous ones here, you got Abaddon, and this is just in like Christian demonology,
Right.
Christian theology.
Who else you got?
Azazel in Jewish
Azazel.
religion.
Zuzu.
Pazuzu is another one.
Byzantian.
Lilith.
Baphomet.
Well,
A lot.
Lilith
Baphomet's
is-
a really popular one.
Well, he actually. Baphomet
ahead.
was actually brought up into a lot of pop culture. I don't know if you've
Mhm.
seen the guy. He does the. I don't know. Fuck's his name. Anyway, basically they had a statue of Baphomet.
Mark one up for CJ. That's his first F-bomb in an episode.
So basically, they had a statue of Baphomet, and it
Mhm.
caused a huge uproar. Like
Yeah.
they were moving it.
Oh yeah, in Little Rock.
Mhm.
Yeah, because they tried to open up a Satanist temple in Little Rock, which is weird that they chose Baphomet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Very
think
low on the
Baphomet,
totem
the
pole.
Knights, yeah, pretty low. The Knights Templar was actually accused of worshiping Baphomet
Mhm.
back in the day. That's kind of how like they were persecuted for
Friday
that.
the 13th.
So I think a lot of that is I think your common person would not understand. They think that's just a different name for the devil himself, right?
No,
And I think
yeah,
I think
they're
Baphomet was
different
chosen just because his
deities.
appearance is so shocking.
Or the
Yeah, I mean,
4 arms,
Yeah.
6 arms, or whatever.
Yeah, the
no
six arms.
Baphomet has a goat's head with
Mm-hmm.
a star carved in the forehead.
Yeah,
That's where you get like
Um,
the pentagram and so on.
Yeah, I think
Right.
that's why
Yeah,
he was
large
chosen
horns.
for that, just because he's so.
He has
Right.
he has wings. Yeah, Baphomet's like a lot of people when they see a picture of Baphomet, they quickly reference it to Satanism.
Yeah.
So
there's one that's just right below Baphomet on the totem pole. You haven't said yet.
I'll
but I'd
probably
be
get through them soon. I'm just reading through a bunch of random ones, ones that I think are interesting.
Well, there's one that I had an encounter.
Oh, another
Like,
one.
what's
So this is kind of a lower demon. They don't specifically have their own names, such as Baphomet and Abaddon,
Mhm.
but succubus is an incubus.
Yep.
A succubus is a female demon who poses as a beautiful woman and convinces you to commit adultery with her. And then there's the male version of that is an incubus who does the same thing.
Lilith is probably the most famous succubus.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Lilith is probably the most famous female demon.
So-
there's
To
There's
stop for a
each-
second, Lilith was actually an angel originally,
Asmodeus was originally an angel. I know that.
who Satan was in love with, according to the Book of Enoch, who Satan was in love with, and that's who actually Eve was made in the image of, was Lilith. That's according to the Book of Enoch.
So her appearance is described as like a normal human being with wings.
Supposedly, whenever God made Eve, he made Eve in the image of Lilith. Sorry, just had to get that out there while I was thinking about it.
No, you're fine. That's like I just said about the Asmodeus, which is another angel
Mhm.
who fell. He became the demon of lust, jealousy, rage,
Mhm.
luxury, and gambling. Asmodeus.
Yeah, there's different demons command, like the ones that have names, basically the more like recognized demons. They
Right.
each command legions of lower demons. For example, here, I think it was Beelzebub commands. I think he commands
Beelzebub?
like 60 legions
Yeah.
of demons. But yeah, there's there's levels to it. Basically, there's a hierarchy. Mephistopheles is another famous demon.
Mhm.
Moloch, we've talked about Moloch before.
Yeah, we have talked about Moloch a few times.
So
Um,
this says in certain cultures, demons are basically just forces of nature, right? Like hurricanes, tornadoes.
yes, which is also something I can get into. So there's in Islam, there's a thing called a jinn.
Yeah.
Who the key characteristic in the way that you can kind of tie them into Christian demons is Christian demons are kind of known for possessing people
Mhm.
and like whispering in their ear and convincing them to do evil things, and that's what jinns do. Is jinns will invade a person's dreams and possess their dreams and possess them. The Japanese, I go back to the Japanese folklore a lot, but the Japanese have a baku, which is like elephant type creature who is known as the Dream Eater. And then the Caribbean cultures have what's called a jumbi, which is basically the same thing. It's like a jinn that possesses dreams and possesses you and stuff like that, whispers in your ear through your dreams. So these are different, like we've said before, these different cultures have
The same ideology.
the same like characteristics, describing their different beliefs. So hashtag uplifted.
Well,
Just saying.
so jinns are commonly known as like genies, basically.
Yeah.
For anyone that probably, I don't know if they know that or not, or doesn't correlate that. Like when you think of a genie, that actually stems from a jinn,
Yeah.
right? And it says that I guess jinns technically they can be evil or they can be good. Just typically their nature tends to lead them towards evil more than anything.
Mischief. Like mischief is a good way of putting it.
Like I mean, because every characteristic of a genie. Well, it's like when you think of a genie, right? You have to be very specific with your wish, or he's gonna screw it up, right?
Yeah.
You say, "Oh, I want to be the richest man in the world," and then they make everyone else around you poor.
Moves you to Somalia. Before we step too far away from the list of demons, I'm gonna get chills and I'm gonna start crying. So just bear with me. Always happens whenever I start talking about this. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, our personal demon.
So, I've told you guys before that it told me its name. Okay, now like again, I don't know that this is anything real or factual, but I actually can't bring myself to say the name. So if one of you guys can open that message I just sent you, and you can refer
Carl.
to, yeah, Carl, Demon Carl. Like I just can't bring myself to say the name. I don't know why. Like we won't leave my mouth.
Gimmery.
Mm-hmm.
Gimmery. Gimmery.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm glad it's not like a Bloody Mary. I just said that thing 4 times. Just,
Well, last I heard from him, he was or her. She was in Alton, Missouri. So
guess I would just do a quick read through of this so I can.
yeah, I'm sorry. I just
Okay.
can't bring myself to talk
So,
about
Gimmery is ranked as a duke. He commands 26 legions. And that's pretty much all it says on him.
I'd like to see. I'd love to know like correlation. Like, so if there's any sort of like signs we could have seen,
it. Right.
Other than the
Yeah.
scary stuff.
Well, if you read through the Munich Manual of Demonic Magic, you might find something.
I'm gonna have to do that one.
The Gimmery.
Uh-huh. The Munich Manual, Pseudo Monarchia, Lesser Key, and Dictionary further give Gimmery the power of procuring love from women.
Interesting.
So it's a
The
he. It's a he, but the appearance of a female.
Yeah.
He's referenced in many different books. A couple I just mentioned, the Munich Manual of Demonic Magic, the Liber. Hold on, let me try to say this. It's in Latin, so the Liber Officicorum Spiritum,
Good job.
the Pseudo Moncaria Daemonum, and the Lesser Key of Solomon.
Mhm.
The Pseudomoncarium and the Lesser Key note that there's a Duchess's crown worn around Gimmery's waist. Gimmery is also mentioned in a manuscript labeled Fasciculus Rerum Geomanticarum. Oh, what any of those words I just said mean?
Yeah, you probably just summoned him, but I think that.
Said a lot of things in Gimmery is opposed by Shimham Forosk, by the Shimham Forosk angel Poiel.
Okay. Well, yeah. Very interesting.
So
Glad I know that now. But I mean, like
Grimmery's nemesis is an angel named Poiel.
the thing that gets me about the whole situation is like this is not. I mean, he's on the list, but he's not like way up there. You know, it's like what 50th?
6th, I think.
Yeah, 56th. Like, this isn't something that someone would have just known. You know what I mean?
Do y'all
50th,
remember the?
56th, something
Y'all remember the prophecy that was foretold shortly prior to that?
Yes.
So,
I'm in a hotel right now, so you be careful what you say.
w-
I'm not in the armory.
essentially, Grimmery. It's like the best time to reach him and her, so on and so forth, is when Venus is in the sky. Venus makes the night sky. It's a particular time when Venus is visible in the nighttime, right? Venus makes it very visible outside. Like it projects a lot of light.
I would just like to note that I have distinct memories of that night, that person trying to figure out which one was Venus and which one was Mars, I think. Just saying.
Yeah, well, and then part of that prophecy was that the like the commons or however
Yeah.
would come on the brightest night
Hmm.
during the warmest time of the year, or something similar to that, right? So we correlated that to the full moon, which could have actually probably would have been when Venus was in the sky, or very visible, very prominent in the sky.
That is very interesting.
Isn't the warmest night of the year like the summer equinox or something like that?
Yes.
And is Venus high in the sky in summer equinox?
I'm trying to find that out right now.
Sorry if I'm clacking here.
Sunday,
Mhm.
June 20th is the summer solstice. Not really equinox, I guess. Solstice. The goddess of the summer solstice is Amaterasu. I don't know if that has any significance, maybe, to anything. Midsummer, though, that's a pagan thing for sure.
That is a very pagan thing. The greatest elongation. On these occasions, Venus is so bright and conspicuous that it becomes the third brightest object of the sky after the sun and moon.
Hold on, when was this? What year was this?
I don't know.
2011? No, after that? No, like 2014
It's after that. I had graduated high school.
or 15.
No, it was prior to that because I still had my black Silverado.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. That's the truck he beat on the hood of.
I was wanting you guys to say 2016 was the year. Because I have a connection.
Okay.
But you ruined
Well,
it.
let me look. Let me look here.
2016 was the first time in nearly 70 years that a full moon and an enormous hemisphere summer solstice occurred in the same day.
That would have been in the future, and this happened prior to that though. So
Oh,
that
I guess
could
it
have
was a
been,
prophecy or whatever he said.
yeah. I mean, so because he never give a special time, but I do believe it was 14. 13, 14, I think it would have been, right? Because I would have still had my black truck. I got my white truck shortly.
I don't remember when it was. At all. I wasn't really there. I was only there at the beginning of that night. I wasn't there
Pretty sure it
towards
was
the
in
end
14.
when things got
Tw-
wild.
It was 14 because I just looked at when I bought that motorcycle. It was 14.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2014 because that would have been.
So yeah, there's a massive correlation there to demonology in our personal
Lives. Somehow we keep talking about that, but
I mean, it's a profound experience. So
there's a lot of experiences. Like we had a lot.
yeah, really a lot.
I mean, to consider that we thought it was a joke, and then it just kept on and kept on and kept on, to the point. I'd like to see if where the correlation, like just a lot of behaviors. I'd like to see some correlations to the behaviors, I guess.
Right. Yeah, because oftentimes whenever you see or whenever you read about possessions and demonic possessions and things like that, oftentimes you hear about the church like saying, okay, because of this actions, this is the demon that it was. Things like that.
Mhm.
Because they're compulsive masturbating, it's Pazuzu. Or because they're trying to sleep with someone's wife, it's Baal, you know?
Yeah, which those are a lot of like kind of scapegoats to this is why I did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I think that, have you guys seen Hereditary? It's a movie that just came out recently.
Mm.
That's a good demon one. They're actually trying to summon Pazuzu in that movie, and I think they do a good job of showing some background to Pazuzu as well, and those things. Which, you know, that leads us into that Pazuzu Oligard guy, that cannibal, which we could talk about him sometime, but
Yeah, that dude was a wild.
that was
individual.
wild. And that was like 3 years ago, or not was like 5 years ago. That wasn't that long ago.
You know what? My favorite part about that is he was trying to be all scary and everything like that. Do you know what Alucard is backwards?
Celery.
Dracula.
Oh.
Dracula. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So he literally just
Yeah.
flipped the word Dracula.
Just shitting all over his mom's house. Name himself Dracula.
Yep.
Oh, that was that guy.
Yeah, the guy who had like
Yeah.
piles of shit all over the place.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and was
Murdered
eating
like
people.
2 people.
Yeah, he like kept them in
Yeah, he
Tupperware
was,
in the fridge.
He like filed his
Yeah, I
teeth
never
down to
realized
the
that was-
points and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I know who that guy is
Yeah.
now. It didn't click at first, but once you said,
We'll have to cover him sometime. He's kind of a cult leader.
yeah,
But
well, yeah,
yeah, so I don't know if this next little subtopic would really tie into demons. Are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse demons?
yes, right. So if you want to be technical about it, right? So demons are
I guess demons are anything that derives from hell, right?
yes, and
Mhm.
anything like natural events, stuff like that. Famine, war, pestilence, so on and so forth. Right, would be considered. Depending on which religion or text you're looking at, would be considered a
Evil.
demon, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because like,
brought on by evil things, kind of.
because like I was saying, like the tornadoes and so on and so forth, like that stuff would be
Scared
attributed.
of, scared of no naders, anyways.
If you just put your hand over your neck and put your knees, or was it your head in between your knees?
Your hand over your neck. What are you trying to talk me into?
He's talking about this. Like,
So it's like, in high school they'd have
Yeah.
us in the hallway.
And they cover you over with a little mat or whatever, like
Yeah.
that was gonna do
Like
anything.
they-
when a
like they
roof
thought the
fell on
tornado
your
was just-
head.
The tornado was just gonna walk down the hallway and be like, "There's nobody here," and keep going.
it's
If
an
you don't
active
move,
shooter.
it can't see you.
It's like a time. It's like a
T-Rex.
T-Rex. Where'd they go?
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, you can. I cut you off on your.
Anyways,
but-
Revelation 6 tells of a book/scroll in God's right hand that sealed the 7 seals. The Lamb of God, Lion of Judah, opens the first 4 of the 7 seals, which summon 4 beings that ride out on white, red, black, and pale horses. To Zechariah, they are described as the ones whom the Lord has sent to patrol the earth, causing it to rest quietly. Ezekiel lists them as sword, famine, wild beasts, and plague. Now, in John's Revelation, which is kind of the more modern way that we describe these beings, is CJ said them already, but instead of pestilence, they have conquest.
Mhm.
So the first horseman rides on a white horse carrying a bow and giving a crown, and he is the first. And he is Conquest, who invokes pestilence. So that's why a lot of people just call him Pestilence. But the second carries a sword and rides a red horse and is the creator of war. The third is a food merchant riding upon a black horse, symbolizing famine. And the fourth and final horse is pale green, and upon it rides death, accompanied by Hades. So basically, when Revelations happens, you have Conquest rides through and invokes pestilence and
Mhm.
disease upon the land. He's usually the one who kind of brings forth Christ or the Antichrist.
Right.
The second carries a sword, creates war between the people, war between God, war between the devil, good and evil. The third, war usually causes devastation to land and people to work the land. So third rides through, causing famine. And then that's the thing that kills everybody out. And so death rides through and brings hell along with him. I've always thought the Four Horsemen were like a really cool like subject.
I agree.
guess.
Yeah.
It's
I agree
probably
there.
one of like the most metal things about like nothing cooler about like this is how you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Or this is
So
what-
that's the thing is they are um they're evil, I guess, and they're sent from hell, but they are released
Doing God's
by
work.
Mhm.
God, himself.
Yeah.
Like they are the invokers of the divine end time and the harbingers of the last judgment. Like they are the ones that create revelations. Basically, they are the ones that start the end times. So that's why I don't. They're almost like a chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
Like
But I
a
think
reset.
or even a pure. They kind of describe like a chaotic neutral and a true neutral. Like if you think of death, would he even be a evil or good or like chaotic or
I think it'd be a
anything
neutral,
like that?
honestly.
oh, yeah,
Because
say,
he's just death. That's it. He's not causing, or I guess he brings death, but he's not causing the thing that causes death, I guess, such as
He's
the famine and
essentially-
the war and the pestilence.
he's essentially the farrier from
Yeah.
one side to the other.
The cleanup crew.
But I mean, because if you dependent on that, right? So there's Death himself, and then a subset called like a Reaper, like a Grim Reaper, and so on and so
Right.
forth. He's not Death himself. He's just they do the work of Death. Whereas like Death technically only comes in very specific times.
Right.
There's actually a concept of a fifth horseman as well, called disambiguation, but
Interesting.
there's no real
Which a lot of I think a lot of there's some correlation between
theological.
the
thing to
horseman
that.
and like because they say like God will send a plague of locusts,
Right.
which I've seen be associated with one of the horsemen, right, coming in. Like the horsemen
Yeah.
come in, and behind him comes the plague of locusts. Like with him come plague, right? So
Yeah.
then the locusts come in, they eat everything, and stuff starts rotting. And so I think it's pestilence. It's probably literally the first horseman.
Yeah. Like the plagues of Egypt.
Hmm.
No, I mean you're right. I think that and hopefully on a later date we'll be able to cover like some more like maybe some more possession based
Demons instead of just maybe
demons. Like maybe
demons.
we'll all pick a story and be like, hey, we're gonna tell this story and then this story and this story.
I mean,
I
technically,
think this is a really good starting point for demons. Like give everybody a background. What are we actually dealing with here? You know?
and then this also all kind of ties into. I mean, because eventually we could also tie this back into how there are some parts of religion that doesn't believe in aliens, that they believe those aliens are demons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Somehow all ties back into. We've got 4 topics, and they always tie into something else.
Yeah.
Or everything
yeah.
we ever talk about always can be directed back to like 4 separate things, 4 very
Yeah.
specific things that we branch off of.
No matter how wild it is, how many
Yeah, I mean, somehow it's. I mean,
off-the-wall topic
we
it
literally
is.
we talked about Christmas today. I mean,
Yeah.
it's February.
Yeah, I don't think that. I don't know. Sorry, I'm trying to fix my light here. I look kind of rough in this light.
Anyways, I feel like we kind of hit a good stopping point here,
Yeah, I think we have.
and
And build
we
off
might
of
continue
this.
on this next week, or we might get bored with it and move on to something else. Who knows? You'll just have to stick around and find out. But anyways, Thanks everybody for coming in and listening to us Babylon.
Babylon, huh?
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh, honey. Honey best.
Thanks you two for joining me. And as we said, we had to take a long hiatus, kind of for real life activities because we all have normal jobs still. But if you want to change that, you can support the podcast by going to www.threadweird.com using the code. Fill that in for me, CJ. Using the code, I always forget. Using the code Rabbit Hole. Buy some T-shirts, coffee mugs, wall decor, whatever. It's the type of stuff that we're into, so it'll probably be the type of stuff you're into if you're into us. You know what I'm saying? So,
and you actually go to our site and you can buy directly from
oh
us.
shit! I forget we have a site
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. So
site.
of
I've
course,
only spent hours designing.
of course, go. You know, we still want you to go to Threadweird and support us there also. But we have
and support
actually,
that guy too, because that's just a good dude and he
Yeah, that's a
makes
good
cool
dude.
stuff.
I mean, like you know, he's pretty near and dear to us because of the fact that he's our first. He's
Yeah.
you know, he come to us and you know he saw interest in us, and but we have actually launched our own, and then the possibilities are endless here. Any feedback from anybody, like if they want specific stuff they want to see, like if there's any quotes in here, right, that you found that you love, you know,
I can make anything.
yes, I mean whatever you need, like we got it all. We can literally do anything.
I made a Spawn Ranch Western horse riding shirt the other day. That's on our site. Spawn Ranch is
Yeah,
where the Manson
so-
family lived.
How do you get to our website, by the way?
That's a very good question. Let me pull up the link here for you, and I'll read it off. So it is rabbit/hole/podcast.myshopify.com. You could also just go to our
Are you
Facebook
saying
page.
so you're saying slash as in like slash or a dash,
Dash.
Sorry, I'm a little intoxicated.
like a hyphen?
Hyphen.
Yeah.
Hyphen.
Yeah.
It'll be so much easier for you if you just go to our Facebook page. On our Facebook page, there's a link that takes you to our shop. Lots of great shit on there. We've spent lots of time working on it, and we get literally every single penny of the profit. We bring it back, put it back into the podcast. We get things like our new intros, our closers, things like that we've been adding in. That's how we do that stuff, because I have to pay for software to develop that.
This realistic crossroad that we have that we were gonna summon a demon with, and it didn't work.
Oh, is that what you were doing there?
That's I point that out because the reference probably was lost.
Yeah, it was
In the-
lost. I thought it was just like some standard background that you.
This is the crossroad. But
Good job. All right. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, that's the end of our shameless plug.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Thank you two for joining me, and we'll see you next time.
We love you all. Goodbye.